You know, Lindsay, you and I are such big fans of new beginnings and starting again and taking one more run at it, as we say. I was talking to somebody yesterday about this as well, about our friend from Wicked Tuna at 51 years old, saying, I still got one more left in me. That is not the end line for the last one you got left in you. You got plenty more, sometimes up to 20, 30 years if you decide to start again. My dad started again. I actually walked him this morning, as I do every Wednesday, for his physical therapy. I walked him a block and a half down to walk him over to his physical therapy office rather than drive him. He wants to get to walk in, wants to do it with me. I check him in and all that kind of stuff. And at 82 years of age, he is losing weight. He's lost over 60 pounds, and he continues to kind of push forward. It is never too late, as Dr. Leal said yesterday. No matter where your health is, if you're still alive, as Amanda said this morning, if you're still here, you always have a chance to start anew. And man, within that thread and that framework, we have got ourselves a guest, do we not?
We do, and I'd say it's never too late to start over or keep going. I think that's another through line because you may have been doing the thing you love all your life, and then decide at 70 or 80 or 90, you know what? I'm going to keep doing that thing as opposed to stop doing that thing. And that's kind of what this next guest has done. And he's going to be, I think, it's such an inspiration to everybody listening. So today on Road King Radio, we've got a guest who has proven that it's never too late for second, third, fifth, whatever act. You can keep evolving as much as you want. And John Michael Ferrari, he's 77 years old. That is in his bio. We are not just calling his age out. This is a very important part of the story. It's a positive part of the story. He's a Vietnam veteran. He's a guy who spent decades singing covers in clubs from Vegas to California, all over, before walking away from it all to chase other passions. Then came back at 71 years old. He came back to the mic with his own songs. He's since racked up over 30 awards. He's had magazine covers. And now, guys, he's actually in the running to make Grammy history as the oldest artist ever considered for Best New Artist. I know my dad's listening right now. I'm going to get a text in a minute. He's going to be like, is there still time for me? Yes, Dad, there is. He's also up for the Guinness Book of World Records. Guys, I love about this story. It's not just the awards. It's the reminder that reinvention has no age limit. Let's get into it with our next guest. Please make welcome to the show, John Michael Ferrari. Good morning. How are you, friend?
Good morning to you. I'm feeling really well. Really good.
Well, how good? Where are you right now? What are you looking at? Where are you sitting?
Well, I'm sitting in my kitchen right now on our ranch that we live right outside of Las Vegas.
Come on.
And having a cup of coffee in my favorite cup.
Oh, what's on your favorite cup?
Well, it's orange. It reminds me of the sun. I always pick my orange cup because that seems bright, yellow, and happy.
I love that. Beautiful.
It's interesting, too, because you are a baby boomer, and so much of the music and style and storytelling that we live in, even at this very moment, is, in fact, still influenced by the baby boomers. And it turns out that you guys might have a little bit more influence left. So I kind of want to I kind of want to tease out a little bit of an origin story here. And congratulations on all your earlier success and now your newfound success. But I wanted you to kind of tease out, because singing covers, by the way, is an art form. Singing the songs of other people and actually getting people to come in and ask you to sing them or request them is really an art form. Can you talk about your love of covers and how it is you discovered that you really enjoyed singing songs by other people first, and then we'll get to your songs? Did I lose you? Are you there?
Well, while we try to get him back on, are you there, John? John?
I'm right here. Yeah.
There you are. Okay. Did you hear Jim's question?
Okay. No, I didn't. Please repeat it.
Oh, that's okay. Actually, you gave me a chance to rehearse it as I was talking about earlier on in the show.
He said it really crappy the first time. This time's going to be a banger. Listen up.
I'm going to nail this one. Watch this, guys. So you've made a career both singing original songs, but earlier you made a career of singing cover songs. And there's a real art form to that. Can you talk about the kind of songs you gravitate to, why you started singing them, how it is that one goes about making sure that one picks a song that actually they can sing? Of course, you can sing almost any song you want to put your mind to, but songs that really speak to you that you sing. Talk about how you pick songs, and then we'll talk about how you write them in just a moment here.
Well, writing songs has a lot to do with the songs that you learn how to sing when you're starting out. I was attracted to songs in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. So when you perform those songs every night, you really learn the structure of each song and how it's built, in the format and where the choruses begin, the bridges, where the hooks are. So it just instinctively you learn that, and by the time you get writing your own material, you have all that information inside of you. Even if you can't express it, but you just know it. You can feel it. That's why it's very important to have that ability to learn new songs and use those as a stepping stone to writing your own songs.
Well, and as Jim mentioned, it's its own art form. And John, for a long time, I sing downtown on Broadway here in Nashville, and we would do a 4-hour set, all of cover songs. You have to learn a lot of music and or be able to, be on your toes and come up with things in the moment. But who would you say, kind of thinking back maybe to as a child, both as a child and today, are kind of to the yin and the yang type of cover songs that you're like, that feels the most me when I do it?
Well, I like all the cover songs, the Motown and, the old rock and roll. We're all attracted to all types of music. I even like Broadway show music, Rodgers and Hammerstein. I liked what they were doing. I just loved the way music was constructed. And, it meant something to me. So when I wrote my songs, I used those as a means to build my music and my songs on.
I love the idea of that, Lindsay. And by the way, it's a
that
great.
His wife's in the background.
I think
helping him out.
that's pretty
I love
terrific
that.
too. I think that's kind of amazing.
Shout out.
Good to hear somebody in the background. But I wanted to remind our listeners out there too that this is how we do things, guys. We don't just kind of make stuff up out of thin air. We actually dive into the stuff that we love, and we keep doing it and doing it and doing it and going through it and reading it and singing it and playing with it. And at some point, we figure out if we want to make something that is our own. But we can't escape the things that we actually loved as kids, loved as young adults, and have taken up into the future. I really, really quickly wanted to talk about your experiences in Vietnam because it's there where you really kind of where you begin to try to find your voice. You're a very young man, but you actually start writing as far back as then, don't you?
Yeah, I started writing back when I was actually in high school. In 8th, 9th grade, I was writing songs. I didn't understand structure. I just knew that I could write songs, and they sounded commercial.
Well, and you've with that on the songwriting tip, we do a show around here called We Should Write, which is about the healing power of writing. And I'm going to guess, you've lived multiple different lives. From you spent time in an orphanage as a child, you were in Vietnam, you've been a Vegas showman, a photographer, now come back to music as you sit on your ranch and get to make music something you're passionate about. And that's such a beautiful bookend. I'm curious, of those chapters in your life, do they all have a framework and find their way into your songwriting kind of as a whole?
Absolutely.
Or do you specifically hone in on certain times?
No, absolutely. All the experiences in my life, contribute to what my songs come out to be. I just wrote a song recently that's going to be released because I was in Prague not too long ago, and I thought, I've been to Prague in the rain. And I use that in my song as describing an opportunity. So I grab for everything. Every experience that I have in my life, I grab one little aspect of it and I'll throw it in the song someplace.
Jim, that's a great reminder. He just said, I've been to Prague in the rain. You can hear a song coming to life. And I think that, John, is the biggest reminder there that even if you're listening to something that isn't maybe your genre, your cup of tea, to really encourage people to listen to the lyrics, because I want to, no matter what genre it is, I want to listen to a song that has the line in it talking about Prague in the rain. That's just already emotes something so beautiful, Well,
all these experiences come together, and then if you add it with good structure, a good format in a song, there's a certain point where people expect something to happen. You have your verses and your pre-choruses and choruses. They're timed out. and we emotionally expect to hear a change coming. And if it doesn't come, the structure is not correct. And with people feeling comfortable, they feel like, well, that didn't seem right, that. But when it runs the way it's supposed to run, there's a familiarity in the song, and people connect with it really well.
Yeah, and that's the idea, is that so much of what music is the expectation of being transported someplace, and the idea that, you hear certain things in a song and you then know how you're supposed to feel. Almost becomes like these journeys, and certain parts of the song become like signposts that tell you when to take the exit, when to merge onto the entrance ramp, when to accelerate, when to bring it down, and all that kind of stuff. And if you take the trips long enough, you really understand where you're supposed to be. And once both audience and performer figure that out, it really becomes, you're a guy who's played a lot of live performances, done a lot of live work. And so I was kind of interested to kind of you talk a little bit about your relationship with audiences, because you're a guy who does intimate stuff and larger stuff as well. Where did you really kind of learn to work an audience, to really understand what it means to interact with an audience?
Well, you learn by performing all the time. When I was starting out, I used to perform all these little small steakhouses with just myself and the guitar. And you learn a good repertoire of songs, so you can kind of read your audience what song to play next. I never had a playlist, because you never know the mood of the audience and where you wanted to take them. Instead of just following a set list of songs, I could go from wherever I wanted to go. Wherever I felt the audience needed to be lifted to, I could throw in that particular song. And you work the audience night after night. You see what works and what doesn't work. And then pretty soon you get a show, and you use the same routine, same show, maybe same jokes over and over again, and you refine it. And it takes, a few years, many years to refine your craft. And see, unfortunately today, young people don't have that. I got to play every night, and I got paid for it. There aren't venues that pay people well enough to make a living almost. Back in the 70s, I was making $100, $200 a night, and that my rent was only $160 a night. So it gives you an idea of how well you could make a living. People still only make maybe $75 a night, and the rent is $2,500 a night. So there's a big difference in the way everything is.
There's a big difference, and you're still doing it, reinventing, and you've seen so many different kind of phases. So I want to pivot here. And talk about what it feels like to be chasing firsts in your 70s. You've been making music a long time. You've been performing a long time, but this is different, something you're going after. We're going to talk about the potential to make history in the Grammy category, as well as the Guinness Book of World Records here. So you're making firsts in your 70s when most people think their big moments are behind them. Talk about what that feels like, and also tell our audience what's going on with the Grammys and the Guinness Book of World Records here.
Well, you get to a certain point where, you get older and you think about retiring. But the thing is, the older you get, the more experience and knowledge you accumulate. I can do so much more now with my music. I can sit down and write out arrangements, do arrangements, the ability to record in my own studio and do so much more, which I could not do even 20 years ago. So having that experience and getting older is actually a wonderful asset to have. So now when I write songs and I win all these awards, I feel like I have an edge up on everybody, because I have the experience,
Wow.
to be able to do all these wonderful things.
I have to tell you, Lindsay, that's made me feel better about moving forward than almost anything I've heard in a long time, to be honest with you. And the thing about the fact is that a lot of people are often overwhelmed by the new technology, often kind of bemoan the new technology. But when people who have had the talent and have stayed in the game long enough, finally they get the technology they need to make the things they've always wanted to happen, and it doesn't cost them an arm and a leg to do so. It's a game changer. It's one of the great reminders that if you stay young at heart, you can actually create music that feels young and new again. And I was kind of curious.
It's all perspective. Embrace it or die.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I was kind of curious, just to kind of let us know, how long does it take you now to kind of create new songs? I mean, what's kind of the timeline on that from page to produced? What does that look like for you, given your age and given your health? And I know it's good, but what does that do for you?
Well, Pepper will come to me and say, we're going to Nashville in a few weeks, and I need 2 new songs. And so I sit down and jot down some ideas, and then what I do is I go back into my studio and I open up Logic. I use Logic and Pro Tools. Open up Logic and I create an arrangement track. I color code the intro, the verse, the pre-chorus, and the chorus, and then the verse, and then there's a bridge in there. So I already have a roadmap. I already know, and then I just have to fill it in with what I think I want. And then I'm open to making changes in that. But that's a structure, and then I start playing my ideas in that structure. And for me, it works really easy. I'll make a whole arrangement. I can make it in a day or two, and just kind of come up with ideas. And sometimes I'll be working with it the night before we're in the studio, or even the day we're walking into the studio. You never know. But it works out. I make an arrangement. I make all those different parts. I bring in that arrangement into the session leaders there, and we write out the charts for all the musicians, and we hand the charts to the musician, and they get it down 1 or 2 takes, and then they add their own little parts, the self-producing parts. And the next day we record vocals or backgrounds, and we mix it the day after that, and it's done. I mean, it's a fast process.
And speaking of processes, the Grammys are a process. The Guinness Book of World Records are a process. Talk to us about how this came up, that you are now in the running to make Grammy history. What is that all about?
We knew somebody, his name's Eric Zuley, who puts people together with other people. And he knew this lady who worked for Sony Records. I think it was Sony Records, wasn't it? And he said to her, because I have a singer I think you should listen to. He's really doing well with awards and everything. And she's on the Grammy nominating board. And she listened to one of my songs, and she said, oh, my gosh, I think this guy's good. And then she listened to my catalog, and she said, we could do something with this guy. And she got some of her other people aboard and some of the other Grammy member voters aboard. And they decided this is what they wanted to do, is nominate me in that category for the oldest newcomer. And, and there it is. Somebody introduced us to somebody else, and it was just networking and being ready at the right time and meeting the right people. And they're running away with this. They decided this is what they want to do. And I think it's absolutely amazing. It's just an opportunity, wonderful opportunity.
And is there anything, our audience, between that and then the world record, is there anything our audience can do to help out through this outside of listening and streaming your music? Or is that the best place for people to stay engaged?
Well, the music video, I don't know if you had a chance to see the music video.
We did.
And that was, what was it, Cassandra?
When Love is Love.
When Love is Love. They came to us and said, we have an idea for this video. It's black and white. And we went along with it. These are people who are on the Grammy board, and they have ideas. And we said, we're going to go along and for the ride, and whatever they say they want, this is what we're going to go along and do.
Yeah.
And we've had a good response on the video. So it's just fortunate. It's just how happenstance.
By the way, guys,
Beautiful.
You can find him not only on his website, but he's also on X as John Michael Ferrari. You can find him, of course, by typing in John Michael Ferrari anywhere you download your songs. And we're going to encourage you, Lindsay, remind them, don't just listen to them.
Don't just stream it, download it, add it to your playlist. That's how it gets on the radar, guys.
Yeah, and by the way, you can find him on Facebook as John Michael Ferrari songwriter, and on Instagram as John Michael Ferrari as well. When Love is Love, it's a wonderful song, and you guys should check it out. What are you doing with the rest of your day, sir?
Well, today we're getting prepared to leave for Atlanta. We're going to Atlanta for the ISO Awards, and I'm performing there. And I'm nominated for a wonderful award, and they've asked us to come there and prepare to give a speech.
Now tell us really quickly about the woman behind the man, because it seems to me like there's somebody in the room with you that is kind of the backbone around there. Am I right or am I right?
That Pepper J, she's working it all the time. I tell you, it takes a lot of work. I'm just the artist. She tells me what we need to do, and then I put it together. But she has a big part of the success. She communicates with people all over the world. She talks to individuals and helps promote the music. She handles the business, and that's what you need. You need somebody to do that. And then we have another lady that came into our life. I can't remember her last name.
Cassandra Cooper.
Cassandra Cooper. She's been a wonderful asset in helping us and guiding us to the direction of getting this next level of success. So it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of patience, a lot of commitment. The more successful you want to be, the more you have to answer to other people and be responsible to fulfill those obligations.
We have been joined by John Michael Ferrari. Sorry, I said Ferrari. John Michael Ferrari. Guys, please check him out at johnmichaelferrari.com, over on Facebook at John Michael Ferrari Songwriter, and then, of course, on Instagram at John Michael Ferrari. And When Love is Love is the video you can find. It's everywhere you can find videos, as are all of his songs on Spotify and iTunes, Pandora, and any place else that you get your music. We are so excited for you, by the way. Before we get out of here, Lindsay's got one more for you.
Leave us with one word of encouragement for our listeners. You are a veteran, by the way. Thank you so much for your service. We have a lot of listeners that are veterans and also truck drivers, veterans turned truck drivers. And always sending us song ideas, always sending us stories of what they see on the road. What would you say to a truck driver out there who is maybe your age or a little younger or even a little older, thinking about getting into this or reinventing themselves?
Well, you need to find a mentor, no matter what age you are. If you can find somebody who's doing exactly what you want to do, ask them to sit down with you and mentor you through and guide you through the process of how to start writing a song, getting out there and going to the studio and making the whole process so that you can learning the whole process of how to be successful in this business is going to save you years and years on learning and making mistakes. Finding a mentor, find somebody who's doing exactly what you do. We mentor other young people. We take them with us to Nashville, and we help them make their first recording and get them started. Because it's a process. If you understand the process, you're going to get really good results, the results you want.
Awesome. Well, I'll meet you in Nashville. I live here, sir, so I hope to see you here sometime. And thanks for encouraging others to do what you do, because Jim, when everybody plays, everybody wins.
Everybody plays, everybody wins, and John Michael Ferrari is still playing. Will be playing for quite some time. We'll keep our eye on the 77-year-old veteran crooner in the running to make Grammy history and also be a part of the Guinness Book of World Records. Big thanks to you, my friend. Have the best of days, and to the lady behind you, have the best of days as well.
Okay, yes, okay. Thank you so much.